Hello. Oh, I actually hurt my ankle doing that. Ow. Well, you live and you learn, I suppose. The video this week isn't the video that I was actually planning to make. I had another idea what I wanted to do, but this one's just kind of come to mind, which will which will come to light in a moment. For those who don't know, my name is George. I am currently 32 years old, and 4 weeks ago today, I was laid off from my job in tech. It's been a bit of a weird journey so far. I'm trying to keep myself busy, but things are up and down at the moment. And if you're wondering why, it's because of AI. I just want to caveat this before I start properly. I haven't really dug into this or done a lot of research into this, so some of the things I may say may not be necessarily true or whatever. I don't know. This is something I just kind of feel like I have to get off my chest because it's impacting, well, feels like it's impacting me and a lot of other people as well. And it's just something that I feel like I need to talk about, just to talk about. Unless you've been living under a rock or, I don't know, something that isn't Earth, you may have seen that we have artificial intelligence everywhere now. We've got ChatGPT, you've got Claude, you've got Copilot, you've got Gemini, you've got Apple Intelligence, you've got AI everywhere. And it's driving me mad. Okay, it's not driving me mad, but it just feels like something that wasn't around many years ago, well, so to speak, has suddenly just taken the world by storm. And I'm a little bit worried about it. I think my biggest concern with AI is jobs in tech, really. To me personally, I don't know if this is like a true fact or whatever. As I said, I haven't really done much research into it. But since ChatGPT launched, I think it was in 2022, it feels like a lot of tech jobs, especially for juniors like myself, have been in rapid decline since AI started making its whereabouts. And to me, that is, it's concerning. It's very concerning, to me at least. Maybe not to others. Some of the requirements for junior level jobs, from what I've seen, some of the requirements are absolutely ridiculous. The job I looked at this morning was a junior data scientist or something like that. I can't fully remember. But the requirements wanted a junior to have 5+ years experience in like Python and R and SQL or SQL, which to me, it just seems really unrealistic for a junior. Now, don't get me wrong, you could have experience doing things like personal projects or university projects or whatever the case may be, because there are a lot of resources out there that people can use nowadays. But to go in to a junior job for the requirements to say that you need like 5+ years experience, to me, it's mental. It's absolutely crazy. This is why I worry about juniors now, people that are in university now or college or whatever the case may be, with between like the age of like 18 and let's say 26, to throw a random age group out there. To me, it feels like they're going to struggle. I mean, I'm even struggling to try and find a job now. And I'm not trying to put the blame on AI entirely, but it feels like, as I said, since ChatGPT launched in 2022, industry or entry-level jobs have just slowly declined. And it's worrying. It's so scary. Because someone, who's been trying to find a job, I'm not having any luck. I've applied for jobs, I've either been ghosted, or I genuinely applied for a job yesterday about 10 in the morning, and I got an email about an hour and a half to 2 hours later saying that, we feel like you've got good experience based on your previous jobs, but we don't feel like you're fit for the job at this time. It's, oh my God. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating. And I think the AI thing, or the AI apocalypse, or whatever you want to call it, several of my friends have been impacted by this as well. It's not just me. And I don't know. Every week, it feels like more companies are laying off people. I mean, take last week, for instance, Microsoft announced that they laid off 9,000 people. Like 9,000 people have been laid off in a week. That is absolutely mental. That's crazy. And if you take people that have been laid off since 2022 up until we're halfway through 2025 now, so many people are out of a job. Whether it's due to AI or not, I don't know. But it does feel like there's some sort of impact where companies are starting to introduce AI to try and do some sort of like mundane tasks, so they don't need juniors anymore. So if we get rid of the lower level staff and keep the seniors and above, we're all grand. I know people in lead jobs, like lead programmers in the industry, whether it's games or just like general tech or software, whatever the industry may be, and they're being laid off too. Like these people with several years, like 10 plus years experience are being laid off. And my personal opinion, I just think that, I can't say companies because I haven't really worked for a company that deal with AI or work with AI or anything like that, so I can't really speak on that behalf. Or even looking on social media nowadays, regardless of the platform, that there's this new term called like vibe coding, I think it's called, which I don't fully understand what it means, but I think it's something along the lines of you use AI to make code for you to do a certain thing or something like that. I'm not quite sure. And the only reason why I mention that is I was looking at Reddit today. I know it's not a most reliable source, and I came across this post. I think it was the first one that came up, and it said, "I've given up." I clicked on the post and had a quick read through it. The user says that they're working on this program. I can't remember what the program was, and they just kept getting error after error after error, and they just couldn't work out what the problems were. And they said that they had just had enough of hitting problem. They'd make a code change to fix one error, but another 4 would appear, and they just said they just completely had enough. Why that sucks, we've all been in that. If you're a programmer yourself, regardless of what industry, you come across a bug, you try and fix it, you create another 16,000 errors. It's just the way software goes. And in some ways, I can kind of see people giving up because of that, because, they want to see results, they want to see progress. And for me personally as well, I kind of get the frustration. But when I read further down the post, the user had admitted that they were using AI to make a project from complete scratch. Obviously, they prompted AI to say, I want a program that does X, Y, Z, spit out some code, yada, yada, yada. And then the post did say that when they hit an error, they'll copy and paste the error into whatever AI platform they were using. It would give back code, they'd paste it into whatever IDE they were using, and that's where more errors would occur. And they were given up based on that. If they genuinely have given up, that's down to them. But I feel like instead of using AI just to try and help identify the problem, don't use it to fix the problems for you. Because if you get one error, you use AI to give you a fixed solution, for example, and you've got 4 more errors. For me, it's like you need to understand what the errors are telling you. You can't just keep relying on AI. And this is the thing that concerns me, is the amount of people that are just using AI to say, I want a program which, generates the results of a Formula One race or something like that. I don't know. That's the thing that concerns me, because people are not using, not necessarily their initiative, but there's a post that I did read about people that are using AI, like their cognitive learning behavior or something like that, or certain things that fire in the brain that help you learn are reduced something by like 32%. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm hoping there's people out there that are still learning how languages work and all that sort of stuff. And the thing that, just my personal opinion, I don't want AI to make people lazy. That's my other concern as well. A lot of people were commenting on this person's post saying, don't use AI. If you don't understand how something works, then using AI, it's not going to help you. Which I kind of agree with that. It can help in small things. For me personally, the only time when I use AI is if I don't understand something and I can't find the answer for it. So if I'm coding something and it's, throwing an error, I'll try and fix the error as best as I can. And I saw a post on Instagram. I followed this Python page on Instagram, and they give you like small daily challenges. And there was one, I can't remember what it was. It was like combining or merging a list into a list or something like that. And I was like, oh no, the result would be this. But it wasn't. So, I did some Google searching, tried to find the answer, couldn't really find the answer. So I just asked, I think it was like Copilot, saying, I don't quite understand what's going on here. Would you mind explaining it to me and just breaking it down? And it broke it down. I was like, okay, yeah, now I understand. But I don't use AI to say, I need this program. Can you write the code for me? I don't want to do anything else. Because to me, that's defeating the object of learning. Just my opinion, once again. The other interesting thing was I was watching a podcast. For those who might know Stephen Bartlett, he's the CEO. He's one of the dragons on Dragon's Den in the UK, and he does a podcast which I think is called The Diary of a CEO, where he interviews, many faces. It's people across like actors and models and, whatever. And he talks to them about the subject that they're basically, or the field that they're in. And he did a podcast with a guy called Geoffrey Hinton, I believe his name is, who is a British-Canadian computer scientist. Geoffrey said to Stephen that he'd worked on AI at Google for about 10 to 15 years, I think it was. But this wasn't the AI that we know today. This was like the very early stages of AI. Geoffrey even said to Stephen that the AI we've got now, so like ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever it may be, even he was concerned at the rapid rate that AI is evolving. Because, if you look at ChatGPT from 2022 compared to AI models now, you know, when they were generating images and videos. Like there's a famous one of Will Smith eating like spaghetti or something like that. And, you know, like all the fingers are messed up and, you know, it's like, I think forks appear out of nowhere compared to when you look at a model now that can generate the same video and it genuinely looks real. I mean, you can tell that it's AI, but for someone who wouldn't know, they would say that's a real image or a real video or whatever it may be. The thing that interested me was Stephen asked Geoffrey what advice would he give to the younger generation now in terms of what jobs to do in the future. And he said, become a plumber. Someone who's worked in AI and worked on AI for like probably their whole career is now saying that, you know, essentially learn a manual labor skill, so like a plumber, electrician, or whatever it may be, because AI may get to that point where you won't really have software engineers, or you have software engineers that manage the AI, but then the thing that he said as well, which is what I said as well, what happens when AI starts training itself rather than having humans or us write algorithms behind the scenes or LLMs to try and manage this sort of thing? I don't really know how AI works. I need to look into it really. But I find it mind-blowing. Like it's so scary. And the thing that he said in the video as well is that, you know, things could get worse. They may get better, but they may get worse. You know, we don't know which way it's going to go. And the thing is, with all these people being laid off from tech companies, whether it's due to AI or not, I don't know. You know, people need a purpose. People need to feel fulfilled, if that makes any sense. So people like myself that don't currently have a job, you know, I'm trying to learn new skills. But then I look at, you know, people like Microsoft laying off 9,000 people and the new things that AI can do. I sit there and think, what's the point? Do I go and learn how to be a plasterer or a decorator or a plumber or an electrician or something like that? It's not something that I'd want to do, but it's really worrying. It really is. And the motivation comes into it as well, whether this just me or others as well. But, you know, the motivation to try and learn to do something which AI can do like that. And it's like, you know, if I'm, you know, as I've said before, I'm a junior, you know, at best at the moment, because I still need to improve my skill set, which I'm doing now while I have all this free time. But then what's the point of me learning something if AI can do it quicker? But then I do flip-flop between the two and saying, but in order for me to get a job in the field that I want to do, a video on that in a few weeks, then, you know, I need to learn, because companies will, you know, hit problems with these sort of things. So you need to learn how to overcome them. So you need to understand like the basics of whatever language you're using, whether it's like Python, R, SQL, C++, C#, whatever it may be. I think my stance on AI, I do think it's good, but I think the way it's being used at the moment may be bad. And I'm wondering, because it's something that's new, you know, anything new that comes out, you know, it has like this constant climb and then it may flatline and kind of peter and, you know, it may fall back off. But considering how integrated AI feels nowadays, I think that's very far from happening. So as I said previously, what I use AI for is I use it to try and help me understand something. I don't use AI to try and, you know, make something for me, because to me that's, you know, that's defeating the purpose of learning. And, you know, for me personally, I love learning new things. I like trying new things. I like making mistakes and learning from them and then moving on. With the way tech is at the moment, it's, you know, I can't help but kick myself every now and again and just think, why didn't you start earlier? Why didn't you learn this sort of thing when you had a passion for it when you were younger? Why have you left it too late? That is my biggest concern as well. I do feel like nowadays, you know, I'm 32 years old. Have I left it too late to get back into tech? Or have I left it too late to try and learn a new career or learn a new skill that can give me a career which, you know, I would enjoy and sustainable in the years to come? Sorry if this video was a bit of a Debbie Downer, as it very much were, but it just felt like something I had to get off my chest. And apologies if nothing made sense. I just kind of pulled the camera out and just started yapping. So things might not make sense, and some of the facts or whatever I've said may not be true. It's just something that I just wanted to vent about and just get it off my chest. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. It would mean a lot. I'm currently doing a redundancy series, so this is part of it, where I kind of go through what I'm doing in my redundancy, like what I'm doing, all that sort of stuff, and, you know, just general chit chat like this one. So if that sort of thing interests you, consider subscribing to the channel. Any support is greatly appreciated. And yeah, I suppose I'll see you guys next week. Take care.